So the NHL is going to have a hearing with Tom Wilson for an illegal check to the head. When they tweeted out a legal check to the head, that's a suspension. Let's talk about Tom Wilson, because it's worth talking about. Tom Wilson's not the problem. Tom Wilson's a symptom of the problem, and this is going to get downvoted, and I know it is. I'm not anti-hitting. I'm pro-clean hitting. And there's a guy who played for the Capitals, you guys may know of, who's in the Hall of Fame. And man, back in the 90s, Scott Stevens, mainly for Jersey, not for Washington, but there's some synergy here. Stevens laid guys out. You know, you'd be coming across center ice, you'd have your head down, Stevens come in and just friggin' flatten you. Shoulder right to the head. Bam. What would we say? Cutting the trolley tracks. You look at, if you get like old Rock'em Sock'em Hockey's, Don Cherry's all like, yeah, that's a good clean hit. He should have had his head up. He had his head down. He's admiring his pass. He's looking over there. He should have been looking ahead. Boom, smoked right in the head. Now, we've been educated at this point that head hits are bad. So what Scott Stevens got away with is bad. Now, what Tom Wilson's been doing this year is he's been skirting the line. So the Dumoulin hit. There was a tweet sent out by Dan Carcillo. Let me go ahead and read that out to you. Had the League of Denial made the right call in Game 2 with Wilson's hit to the head on Dumoulin, Reese's jaw would still be intact and he wouldn't be suffering from a traumatic brain injury. He's now at risk for early onset of Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, TBI, CTE, and then he tweeted that at NHL Player Safety. And he's right. These hits, they cause problems at the time and later. Whether it's dementia, and I mean, my grandmother went through dementia, and dementia is not fun. It's a very commonly thrown around term, and it's like, they're old, they get dementia. Dementia's bad. It can completely change a person's personality, and it is not much fun to watch somebody who was as intelligent as my grandmother was go through that, where their mental faculties aren't what they were. It's really tough. It's really tough to sit with somebody and go, Grandma, you just told me that story. Or there was one time where I was borrowing money from my grandmother, and she went and got me money after she had just got me money. And I got really concerned and had to go and tell my mother and say, look, we might want to watch what Granny's doing with her money, because she just tried to give me the same amount of money twice. So somebody's going to take advantage of that. When we talk about these hockey players, it's really easy to just go, that's a great hit, and forget about the fact these are human beings. They have a life outside of hockey. They have kids. They have wives. They have a life they want to have after hockey. Millions of dollars doesn't fix your brain. So it's great that they have all these millions of dollars, doesn't fix your brain. And the NHL doesn't take proper care of its players after they retire. This is why there's the big CTE lawsuit. And also the fact that the NHL says that's not a problem. So why are these guys able to do this? Scott Stevens did it for years before the NHL went, all right, we're going to stop it. Now Wilson was able to get away with hits that are clean, but shouldn't have been. Whether it was the hit against Columbus in the first round, the hit against Dumoulin in the second round, they shouldn't be. And that's where the conversation gets tricky. Because as soon as you say, yeah, that hit's clean, but it probably shouldn't be, that's when you get, you're a wuss. You're trying to take all the hitting out of hockey. You want to make it figure skating. No. No. We want to see people stop getting traumatic brain injuries. That'd be nice. And while we can't take it completely out of the game, we can certainly take hits like this out of the game. And what upsets me is, I compared Wilson, and this is another former Washington Capital. So there's a Washington Capital pattern here. I don't think it's the jersey. Maybe it is. Maybe it's all that red. It's like a bull, right? Dale Hunter. Pierre Turgeon scores a goal for the New York Islanders, and while he's celebrating, Dale Hunter drills him from behind into the boards. Hunter's suspended for 21 games. And Don Cherry went out and defended Hunter and said it wasn't worth 21 games. And it was. And I like Dale Hunter, the player. Dale Hunter, the player, he could score tons of goals and points, and he could fight, and he was tough. But the cheap shots. The cheap shots are what people remembered. Tom Wilson, he's big, he's tough, he can score, he's got good hands. The cheap shots are what people are going to remember. Stevens got in the Hall of Fame because his were clean. But they wouldn't have been by today's standards. Dale Hunter, dirty, but he laid a lot of guys out with clean hits too. Clean hits that would not be considered clean today. The players are bigger than they were when Stevens and Hunter played. The players are faster than they were when Stevens and Hunter played. That's physics. That's more weight. That's more energy. And then you stop it. It's a lot of force. And I'm not kidding. Somebody's going to die on the ice. And I hate to say it, but I really think that we're in a situation where the NHL isn't going to learn until somebody's laid out on the ice and they don't get back up. And then we'll have Bettman and Daly and all these guys in front of the screen going, this is terrible, this shouldn't happen. And they'll call off the game and it'll be this horrible thing. And we're in mourning and, oh, I can't believe this happened. It's the brain. You're bruising a person's brain. What happened to Zach Aston Reese? It's borderline by today's standards. You could argue it either way. He's getting suspended, and I am okay with that. People hear me saying it's borderline and go, oh, whatever. It's not borderline, it's dirty. That's the problem. We can all agree it should be dirty. We can all look at that hit and say, you know what? The way Wilson's grinning on the bench, that should be 5 games. And I think Tom Wilson, the way he was smiling after delivering that hit, while Aston Reese is bleeding on the ice and he can't get back up, that's going to add a couple of games. Wilson's cavalier attitude after laying the guy out is going to get him a couple extra games. Because the optics of that look really bad for the league. And that's the problem. This isn't about player safety. This is about optics. How does it look? Oh, we look bad here. We'd better do something about this. I see hits in every game that make me cringe. Because mass, speed, and then you stop it in a heartbeat. Guy falls back to the ice, smashes his head on the ice. This isn't the same as in the 80s. This isn't the same hockey that was played in the 70s where, yeah, guys could play without helmets if they wanted to. Because it wasn't the same game. There were a lot of fights. There weren't guys skating at 80 miles an hour and just getting smoked by another guy skating at 80 miles an hour. Like this, the speed, the size, these guys are all 6'3", 6'5" now. Like this is a completely different game. So they will likely throw the book at Wilson. But we have to get better. The league has to get better. As you move up, Dale Hunter, Scott Stevens, Tom Wilson, you have to continue to evolve the game and the safety of the game. Notice I'm not complaining about officiating at all. I'm saying the rules need to change. But he gets mad about officials. Call the book. Part of the reason, too, that Wilson is able to get this smoking hit in, and we're like, I don't know, it's because so much crap is being let go at this time of year. I watch, and I've had times where I'm watching a game with Yvonne, and we sit there and call penalties while we're watching. Cross-check, slashing, interference, cross-check, slashing, interference. And then finally somebody takes their stick and bam, and then it's, oh, slashing. Oh, that one's finally a penalty. We're watching as basically the game continues to get tantalizingly close to being really, really close to perfect. Whether it's the scoring, the goaltending, the skill level, everything in the league is so solid right now. They have to do something about the hits. And no, I don't want to take hitting out of the game. But some of the hits that are legal now and are borderline now, there should be no gray area. None. There really shouldn't be. Because at some point, somebody's not going to get back up. Career ending, life ending, whatever one it is, somebody's not going to get back up. All right, like I said, I'm expecting downvotes on this. Anytime I talk about this kind of stuff, people get upset. I'm not trying to just talk about Tom Wilson. There are plenty of other players in the league that play this game on the edge. It's just right now, he's kind of the spotlight guy. And, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys very much for your patience and your attention to this matter. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, but the league has definitely got an issue right now. And the smile was all over Tom Wilson's face about it. And that face, that smile, I hope that smile was worth it, because I really think that'll get him an extra couple of games. But we'll see. If it's a one-game suspension, I expect a lot of rage. And I really wouldn't blame anybody for that. And this shouldn't be a Pittsburgh versus Washington thing. This really should be, do we want to see a person's livelihood and their life after hockey destroyed just because we want to see a good hit? Is that where we're at? Let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon.